Welcome to Fight City NYC. My name is Ben Chan and I do the Punch Zone for HBO. We've got a lot of boxing action to review from this past weekend, and then we got the match this weekend to talk about. But let's start with the biggest headline from this weekend. Welcome to the welterweight division. Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia defeated Amir Khan. Didn't just defeat him, knocked him out in 4 rounds. And this wasn't a fight where Amir Khan got blown out of the water. Amir Khan came out. He looked like the fighting machine that a lot of people think that he's capable of being, and that's Amir Khan's. That's what he does. He comes out. He looks really fast. He looks like he's got some power, or at least enough power to make the other guy not want to exchange so readily. But to Danny Garcia's credit, he hung in there and he hung tough. He didn't fold in the face of Amir Khan's early barrage. And for the first 2.5 rounds, it really looked like Amir Khan was in a whole different class than Danny Garcia. Now, there was a lot of pre-fight talk, and before the fight, a lot of the talk was done by Danny Garcia's trainer, his father, Angel Garcia, who said some interesting things. Frankly, he said some dumb things. Now, and Danny Garcia, probably you've heard, or maybe you haven't heard, he said that I've never met a Pakistani that can fight. Well, Amir Khan is a Pakistani that can fight, and later on when people called him out on that, he said, well, it's not racist. It's like me saying I've never met a Puerto Rican who can't swim. Let's set that aside, because Amir Khan, of course, responds by saying that Danny Garcia is not an elite fighter. So there was a lot of talk before the fight. There was some bad blood, and these were two guys who genuinely didn't like each other. Now, Danny Garcia, must be said, I don't think that he really subscribes to his father's opinions. He actually seems like a pretty decent young guy, a decent, well-composed young fighter. And he went in there into the ring on Saturday night and was not deterred by what Amir Khan came out with. And Amir Khan, for all intents and purposes, looked like a fabulous fighter through the first 2.5 rounds. And Danny Garcia hung in there, and he started to time Amir Khan. He started to try to get Amir Khan into the brawl that he wanted Amir Khan to get into, because that was what this is what Danny Garcia is good at. He is good at fighting. He doesn't have spectacular speed. And there were some times early in the fight when it looked like he was frankly punching underwater. There were really bad misses at first, but he was timing Khan. He was drawing him in. He was trying to get Khan to exchange with him so that way he could get his timing down. And at the end of the 3rd round, he caught Khan. He threw a left hook, and there are some people who think it was a blind left hook. No, I think it was perfect timing, because Khan came in and he threw a really slow right uppercut. And he actually did throw the uppercut. It wasn't like Garcia caught Khan before he threw the uppercut. Garcia got out of the way of the uppercut for the most part and just threw this left hook, and he started by looking, and it looks like Garcia wasn't looking, but he was just actually getting out of the way of the uppercut. He got out of the way of the uppercut and just landed this left hook, which hit Khan right on the neck. And that was, for all intents and purposes, that was the fight, because Khan never fully recovered from getting knocked down like that. He was lucky, Khan was, that there were only, I think there was only something like 20 seconds left in the round when the fight resumed, when Kenny Bayless let the fight resume. And Khan went back into the corner to try to recover, but when he came out in the 4th round, he didn't have his legs under him. He got hit a couple of times, and he kind of just tripped, and his glove hit the canvas, so that's a knockdown, of course, and Kenny Bayless gave him the count. And actually, when they resumed, it looked like Danny Garcia might punch himself out, and it looked like Khan might be able to get his legs under him and work his way back into the fight. But to Garcia's credit, he didn't flail away. He didn't punch himself out. He punched smart, although I would have liked to see him go a little bit more to the body when he had Khan running around the ring. But Khan threw some really good counters. I don't know how hard they were. It didn't seem to deter Garcia, but it looked like they were good punches. Maybe they were just slapping, but enough to make Garcia at least think about or place his punches smartly. And then Garcia just caught Khan on the top of the head, and that was it, because at that point, Khan's balance was all gone. He didn't have his legs back. There are some people who question Kenny Bayless's stoppage, because Khan did beat the count and was up. But if you look at the tape, Khan's arms were not up. He wasn't protecting himself. There was absolutely nothing that he was going to do to prevent himself from taking more punishment. So I think it was a good stoppage by Kenny Bayless. Danny Garcia goes into the ring on Saturday night, is a 6-1 or a 5-1 underdog, and he takes Khan's belt. So Danny Garcia is now the guy at junior welterweight, 140 pounds, that holds the WBC and the WBA junior welterweight belts, and he's got a lot in terms of competition. He's got a lot of fights that are in front of him. Khan's trainer, Freddie Roach, asked for the rematch, or said that Khan wants the rematch, and Angel Garcia, of course, is still running his mouth, says something like Khan wears high heels and they don't want to give Garcia the rematch, which I guess is reasonable, because this was a fight that did end up with Khan getting knocked out, but it was, I think, a competitive fight. This wasn't a blowout. Khan won those first 2 rounds, and he was winning the second round until he got clipped. And I think this was a good fight. This was an action fight, and this is a rematch that I have no problems with watching. So if they decide to do the rematch down the line, I think there is an audience for it. Khan has his fan base. Garcia, Philadelphia fighter, he is a new star. I don't know if he's a superstar. I don't know if he's a pound for pound guy, but he is a guy that can flat out fight, and he is a guy that makes good fights, and he is a guy that I want to see more of. Khan is a guy that I want to see more of too. There are some people who say, oh, Amir Khan is a bum. Amir Khan is not a bum. He is a guy that can fight. He is a guy that has a lot of speed. He is a guy that makes fights. He could have just used his jab and used his power, stayed on the outside, and just picked Garcia apart, but he didn't. Khan got in trouble because he chose to exchange with Garcia. And yeah, some people are going to say that's a stupid fight. That's a fight he shouldn't have fought. Yeah, because he got knocked out. But that's what makes for exciting fights. That's why people pay to watch Amir Khan fight, because he is a guy that will mix up. He is a guy that makes good fights. I don't think Khan is a bum. He's got a lot of talent, and he's a guy that can beat a lot of fighters out there. So the people who say Amir Khan is a bum, I think they're off. I think Khan is a good fighter, and I think that you should give Danny Garcia credit for being a good fighter. And I would like to see both of these guys back on television. And I think actually for Garcia or for Khan, if Khan decides to move up to welterweight, I think the Victor Ortiz fight would be a great fight, because here you have 2 fighters that are both flawed, that are really tough and sturdy guys. I don't know if Khan can take a welterweight punch, but I think it would be an interesting fight. So maybe Ortiz fights Khan next if they can't get the rematch. Garcia, I don't know, maybe he fights Devin Alexander. There's Timothy Bradley if he's still chasing the Pacquiao rematch. There are a lot of guys at the junior welterweight division that Garcia can fight. So hats off to Danny Garcia. Good win for him. Let's move on. Let's talk about the earlier fight on Saturday. We had David Haye shaking off a year of ring rust to knock out Derek Chisora in 5 rounds. Derek Chisora, when's the last time he won a fight? He's a guy who fights spirited. He is a guy that throws haymakers when he decides to throw. It looked like he wasn't letting his fist go enough. Maybe he was just saving it, trying to catch David Haye. But he didn't do enough. And when he did open up, he got knocked out by David Haye in the 5th round. I don't know if this is a really significant fight for the heavyweight division. We know that the guys who rule the heavyweight division now are the Klitschko brothers. To me, this isn't a fight that makes me say, oh, David Haye is ready to take on one of the Klitschkos again. We all saw what happened the last time David Haye got on the stage and was put in front of a Klitschko. He didn't fight like David Haye, and he blamed it on the toe, and then he retired from boxing, and now he's back in the heavyweight division. So I don't know, but this fight was a good fight. It is what it is. It was a good win for David Haye. I don't know whether that makes him a significant player anymore. I don't know whether he wants to retire or what he's gonna do, but it was a good heavy action fight for a heavyweight. So let's just leave it at that. Let's move on. Before we talk about this coming Saturday's fight with Adrien Broner, I want to talk about something that was announced last week that was too late for our taping. It's that Canelo Alvarez has an opponent for September 15th, and that opponent is Josesito Lopez. Now, Josesito Lopez, as a lot of you know, is coming off his victory over Victor Ortiz. It was an upset. It was a really good fight, a really good victory for Josesito Lopez. He broke Victor Ortiz's jaw and stopped Victor Ortiz from taking the Canelo fight on the 15th. And so now Lopez steps in to fight Canelo. This kind of bothers me. I'm not really excited for this fight. Not because I don't like Josesito Lopez, not because I don't like Canelo Alvarez. It's because I don't like them two in the ring together. And the reason why I don't like them two in the ring together is because Victor Ortiz was Josesito Lopez's first fight at welterweight at 147. Before that, Josesito Lopez campaigned at junior welterweight at 140. He weighed in for the Ortiz fight at 144. He wasn't a full-fledged welterweight, and he looked like the smaller guy. Canelo Alvarez fights at junior middleweight at 154 pounds. I think that Josesito Lopez is going to look tiny in there versus Canelo Alvarez. I think that Josesito Lopez is going to put on a spirited effort. I think that he's going to fight his heart out. I think he has a puncher's chance. But really, Canelo Alvarez is a full-fledged junior middleweight, and he is a guy that might even be able to fight at middleweight. He's going to be so much bigger than Josesito Lopez that there's a part of me that thinks that this is going to be a washout, and for as long as it lasts, it might be fun, but in the end, I think Josesito Lopez is going to lose this fight. He's going to lose because of the significant size advantage that Canelo Alvarez brings to the ring. We'll talk more about the fight when it actually happens. Right now, the latest announcement is that Abner Maris, the super featherweight, is going to be fighting on the undercard. So Abner Maris is a good fighter. Actually, he's a bantamweight fighter. He's a good fighter, and he's going to be back in action. He is a guy that actually might be climbing up the pound-for-pound ranks. So we'll see what Abner Maris does. And it's good to have Josesito Lopez back in the ring. It's good to see him making money. I would have rather seen him fight somebody like Paulie Malignaggi at the first fight at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. That, I think, would have been a really good fight. But for whatever reason, he's going to move up to junior middleweight. We'll see what he does. That fight is going to be on September 15th. Now remember, also on September 15th, we have Sergio Martinez, the middleweight champion of the world, versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a belt holder at middleweight. So fans are going to have to kind of, the Martinez Chavez Jr. fight is a pay-per-view fight, and then the Canelo Lopez fight is going to be on Showtime. So fans are going to have to do a lot of channel surfing that night. Hopefully they get a chance to watch all the fights. Now, I'm going to end the show talking about the fight that's happening this Saturday, 10 o'clock on HBO. We have Adrien Broner, the junior lightweight phenomenon at 130, fighting Vicente Escobedo. Let's talk about Vicente Escobedo. What does he bring? He is 26-3 with 15 KOs, which to me says he doesn't have a lot of knockout power. He doesn't have a high knockout percentage rate. If you look at his record, most of his knockouts came early in his career, although he did knock out a guy named Lonnie Smith, who was 14-2 last year. So maybe he does have some power. He is 5'8", and he has a 74-inch reach. Why is that significant? Because Adrien Broner is 5'7", with only a 71-inch reach. So Escobedo, even though he's older, he's 30, Adrien Broner is 23. Escobedo comes in with some physical advantage. Now, what do we know about Adrien Broner? He is 23 in a row, he is 19 knockouts, and this guy can flat out fight. He is a phenomenon because he is a blend of speed and power that not a lot of people have seen. He does get sloppy sometimes, and there are times when, frankly, it looks like he's fighting down to his competition, but it seems like he's got himself together and that he can be a complete fighter. I don't think that the height and reach disadvantages are going to bother him, because I expect him to just blitz Escobedo. So far, everything that I've seen from Adrien Broner tells me that this is a guy who's very physically strong and very fast, and I don't know of anybody that can keep up with him at 130 right now. Hopefully, when he keeps moving up, he'll make better fights because there'll be better quality opponents. But right now, Adrien Broner is the man at junior lightweight at 130. He is the man, and until somebody proves him wrong, then he is just gonna be giving the post-fight victory interviews with his father brushing his hair. But he is a guy that you want to watch, because he looks like the real deal. He looks like one of those guys that might be a talent that you don't see very often, especially at the smaller weights. This is a guy you want to watch. It's going to be 10 o'clock on HBO for free, so tune in on Saturday. Thank you for watching FCNYC. Take care.